Hello friends, welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal Idunyate and today we are going to be working in my 2021 October daily album. I am working on story number 25 and this one, the prompt was the witching hour. So I took a picture of the sunrise, which also, it might have even been the sunset, but I think it was the sunrise because it had this really cool orangey type of glow to it with a lot of really strong contrasting black colors from the trees and the ground. And I thought that that was just a really cool picture. And since the prompt was the witching hour, I wanted to talk about the really early hours of the day, or also the really late hours of the day. Technically, the witching hour is like midnight, in the middle of the night. So although I'm not really talking about midnight, we are going to be talking about the really early parts of the day. And what I need during those parts of the day is a giant cup of coffee. So what I decided to do was to print off my photo for outside of the page protector. This is going in a Life Crafted album. So it's sized at 4.875 by 8.25, and I added the digital stamp right onto the photo before I printed it, which says the witching hour, and I'll add a link to that digital stamp in the description down below. And then I have gone ahead and I found this cut file for a cup of coffee, kind of a to-go cup of coffee that's got the top portion with the lid on it. And then it has this section across the middle that would be where the sleeve would go for the cup of coffee. And what I want to do is create a shaker pocket for an added bit of fun for this particular day. And also this coffee cup is going to serve as the home for my story, which you'll see here towards the end. So I took this cut file and I cut one of them on a black cardstock and then the mirror image of the coffee cup on a white piece of cardstock. So I've got a back and a front. I'm going to need two of these in order to create the shaker pocket. For both sections of the cup cut file, I'm going to have the top lid portion have a white backing. So the black, you can see the contrast between the black outline and the white of the background. You won't see as much of the contrast on the white cardstock one, the white cardstock outline that I cut with my silhouette. You won't see as much of it as easily, but the dimension is there, so you can kind of tell with the dimension and the texture that there is a outline around the top of it. For the sleeve portion, I pulled out this orange color that I wanted to pull from the photo. So that is going to help link the coffee cup and the photo together for this story. I love also just that the orange lends itself once again to Halloween colors, which is maybe also why I was so attracted to this photo for documenting this particular story. After I have the top of the cup and the sleeve of the cups backed, the next thing I'm going to do is complete the backing of the cup by adding this clear transparency on the background. I'm going to use my liquid glue to add dots all the way around the outside of the cut file, and then I can just stick that down on top of the transparency until it dries. Another thing we need to do here before we construct this cup together is to actually add the portion that's going to allow us to put this in the album. I get these attacher pieces from Citrus Twist, and they're essentially just a strip of transparency that already has the hole punches in it, and then there's a section that already has adhesive as well. So you just peel off the backing and then stick down whatever it is you want to put in the album. I am going to go ahead and add the strip into the album and then peel up the backing and stick down my cup. That way I can get everything situated exactly where I want it to go. And then I can pull everything back out, trim off any of the excess that is showing, and then we can finish up backing both of these cut files so we can create the pocket out of them. I do need to take out any of the adhesive that's showing through on the inside of the cup, and I did that prior to adding the rest of the transparency so that we don't have either a double layer of transparency or we don't see any of the adhesive behind the cup itself. Then it's just a matter of adding some liquid adhesive around the outside of the back of the cup file here. You'll see me do that right now. I'm going to add tiny little dots all the way around those super fine sections of the cup file, and then I will swivel around some extra glue on the already backed portions. That way everything is held down really nicely. So I'm going to do this for both the black cup and the white cup. And what's really cool about this is once we turn this into a shaker pocket, you're going to be able to see those inner pieces from both views. So when you're looking at the cup from the front side and when you're looking at the cup from the back side. When you are looking at the two cup files, you might notice that they are slightly different. After cutting them out on my silhouette, I did take the black cut file, the one I cut out with the black cardstock, and I trimmed off those little floral looking humps in the circle. So on the white one, I decided to keep them, and I'm going to add my journaling into the center here in just a little bit. But on the black one, I wanted the lines to be a little bit straighter, so I could add my own elements to the front of the cup and make the cup look a little bit creepier, a little bit more Halloween-esque than it did originally. After getting the entire cup files backed, the next thing I wanted to do was bring over my sewing machine so I could actually stitch around the outside of the cups and across the middle portion. So anywhere that, for this one, there's black, I stitched on top of the black, and then for the same areas, I did it on the white. I do that for a couple of reasons. One is that it gives it a little bit more texture, and I love the way that it looks and feels, but also it helps to keep everything adhered down as strongly as possible. To create the shaker pocket with this cup, I am using a roll of foam tape, and this is sized at 1/4 of an inch thick. So it is the perfect size for these little edges on the cup itself. I'm going to go around the entire perimeter of one of the cups, and then I'm also filling in a little bit more on the back side of the top portion, so where the lid, quote unquote, of the cup is situated. So then I can simply add all of my pieces into the center of the white cup, since that's what has the foam backing, and we'll be able to stick everything down together. There were a few sections of my foam tape that you could see, and so I'm taking some precision scissors just like I would if I was backing the cup files, and I am trimming off any of those pieces so that we don't end up seeing them when the front and the back, are stuck together. When I was backing this cup file a while ago, I should have mentioned that my favorite tool for backing cut files are precision scissors, because you can add or glue down your backing pieces and then get those scissors in there in order to trim off the excess so you don't have to see it. All right, the fun part is filling this cup up with all kinds of confetti. I have a ton of Halloween-inspired sequins and confetti and all that fun stuff here in my stash. A lot of them I have purchased through the years at the Target dollar aisle, so I have some fun little black bats that I got. I've got some full moons, which are essentially just a gold circle. And then I also have some gold stars that I've had just forever and ever. I love them, especially for Halloween or anything nighttime themed. They're really great for that. So I tried to get a decent mix into the cup. I don't want it to be too full, because then it will just be too busy, and also the pieces and the little confetti pieces won't move around inside of the cup as much as I want them to. So I filled it maybe like a spoonful or two full. Once I had it where I liked it, I took off the backing on the foam tape, and then we're just going to stick the two parts of the cup together. I did do a portion of it first, so the top lid area first, and then I'm going to peel off the sides, and then I'll do the bottom. That way, if I accidentally added them in the wrong place, maybe I was a little bit off, I would be able to remove the cut file from the tape without having to remove the entire thing off. So it just gives me a little bit more security that I can make adjustments without ruining the entire thing. So it's all stuck down. It looks awesome. The pieces are shaking around in there just how I like. And now comes the fun part of decorating the cup, the front part of the cup. For this, I cut out 2 different cut files and I was debating between which ones I wanted to do. So the first one here is this creepy looking wreath, which I believe was from a Paige Evans cut file. And the other one is a witch sitting on a moon. So I debated which one I wanted to do, and ultimately I'm going to go with the witch because the prompt is the witching hour. So it just made a lot more sense, and I'll pull aside the wreath to use another time. When I'm cutting out those cut files in the really tiny scale, I try to have my silhouette only cut through it one time. So I generally use the thicker setting for my cardstock. I think there's an 80-pound cardstock option, or maybe it's even more than that. Maybe it's 180. It's been a while since I've used my silhouette, so I'm not totally sure. But I try to use the thicker cardstock, so I only have to cut through once, and then it doesn't ruin the cut file as much as it would if I had it cut multiple times, if that makes sense. So I end up going with the witch. I do add a chipboard phrase across the moon on top of the witch. And then for the back side, I am cutting out or punching out my journaling, which I printed on this black circle. So it's a black background with white writing on top. And that's going into the circle that still has those floral looking petally type things. And I think that actually gives it a really nice little background that you can see the journaling and the contrast, and it just helps tie everything together. I'm going to add some gold puffy stickers to the bottom of the cup so that my number is in there for number 25. And then that, friends, is going to complete my layout. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this layout came together today. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I will be back with more layouts from this awesome October daily album. So hopefully I will see you back here then. Until then, have a great day, friends. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now.